back to another edition of Telescopeman. You know, we always get questions from beginners. One of the first things that they normally think about after they've bought a little bit of equipment is what are they going to use to carry it out into the field with? What kind of cases do they need to buy? And usually they'll say that, you know, the cases that I see online for sale by normal astronomy equipment retailers are awfully expensive. So what I wanted to do today was make a little video that would show some of the beginners some very low-cost cases that you could probably find pretty close to your house. Somewhere around your house. So what I'd like to do today is show the beginners some cases that I've discovered very near to where I live for very low cost. So right now you're looking at the eyepiece bag that I usually carry out in the field with me. I've had this particular bag that you're looking at for 2 or 3 years now. It's held up very well, been carried all over the place, you know, thrown around. And really all it is a little laptop bag that I found at my local thrift store for $5. That's right. I bought this bag for $5 from a local thrift store. Something like what you might call a Goodwill store. And it seems like if they have luggage, they'll always have a whole bunch of these laying around. So let me kind of show you what I look for in a laptop bag to convert it into an eyepiece bag. So as you can see, this one has like a little pocket on the top. You can unzip these. And I keep some odds and ends in the top. I keep an observing book that I bring out into the field with me, Objects in the Heavens. I always have that. And of course a power cable. That's a good spot for that. I keep a pen, ballpoint pen, in case I need to take some notes. I keep a white light, little light, just in case I need to look for something in the bag, you know, later in the evening or after the observing session. Of course, I also have my little red flashlight that I converted, a little mag light that I bought at Walmart for about $6. Then I went to an auto parts location and bought some of that tail light tape, and I put several layers on it and converted this regular mag light into a red light flashlight. I keep that real handy right here in this little pocket so I can get to it if I need it. Now it's got some other pockets inside, as you can see, and I keep various things in there like a compass. Keep a little compass in there. I keep some leveling devices in here, a little bubble level that I bought at Home Depot for about $3. Little two-way bubble level. That way I can level up my tripod if I need to. Keep that. Also keep another type of bubble level, and this is just simply the one that has the center bubble on it. So I've got both types in here in case I need them. All right, I keep those right here where they're real handy. And also I keep some batteries in this case because I'm usually using my ETX 125 PE or my LX90 LNT, and they both use this little 2032 watch battery to drive the LNT module. And you don't want to have a dead LNT module on your go-to scope right in the middle of when you're setting up or you discover it. And so I keep some of these around. Just in case I have a dead battery, I can pop it in there. This also fits some of the finders that I have. So I keep some batteries around, and all that goes into this top section. All right, so let's open it up and see what I got in there. Okay, again, it's got some more pockets inside. So what would I have in there? Oh boy, I've got a lens cleaning pen in one of the pockets inside. Just in case I need to clean an eyepiece, I carry a real lens pen. See if I can give you a good look at that. Lens pen with me. Now, as I've said before, there's lots of knockoffs on these on the internet. You can jump onto Amazon or eBay. You're going to see 10 dozen of these from various people, all the way from $2 each to $10 each. Well, make sure you buy a real lens pen. Lens pen. They're going to run you about $13, $14, okay? Because you really don't know what they put inside of here. You don't really know what they're using in here for a dry cleaning compound inside this cap. And a lot of the times you'll see postings by people, well, I used a lens pen and I've got all this what looks like greasy residue on my eyepiece now. That's probably because they bought one of those $3 ones off of Amazon or eBay, just trying to save money, and they basically bought a piece of junk. Make sure you buy a real lens pen. So I carry that around. I also carry around this little neat device, which is a little red light, okay? And it clips on to, it can actually clip onto the case, it can clip onto the mount in various places, and also onto a laptop, which is what it's actually made for, is to clip it onto the top of a laptop, and then you have a little red light on your keyboard. And you can buy these, these are like $5 a piece, and you can buy them at Astro Gizmo. Astro Gizmo. Gizmos. Astro Gizmos. All right, and they have a variety of different red lights, including the ones that go on the tripod with the little blinking LED. They have those too. They call them Kick Me Nots. Kick Me Nots. But this is a neat little device to have if you need a little bit of red light while you're out observing. So I keep that in my main eyepiece bag. And then finally, I keep an extra hand controller cable specifically for the ETX 125 and the LX90. Okay, in case my cable goes bad that's already on there, I have a spare, and I can just crank it up again and go on down the road and keep observing. So I keep a spare hand controller cable. Now what I look for when I'm looking for these cheap bags, let me take a few things out and show it to you so you can get a better look at it. Notice that I'm keeping the eyepieces either in tubes, plastic tubes, or in the original box that they came in. Okay, one or the other. I usually keep them in the box, like this little TMB planetary. I'll keep it in the box, or I'll keep it in a plastic tube just to protect it. Okay, it also makes it easier to organize your little bag of this type. But what I look for when I'm looking around the store is this right here. I'm looking for a bag that has these little padded Velcro separators in it. Okay, you have to look a little bit, but you'll find them. They're made for laptops, and that way you can make some compartments inside to fit your equipment better. by making these little compartments. You can see I put the padding around my diagonals in this particular bag. So around the diagonals is this Velcro material with padding just to pad up the diagonals and to separate the spaces a little better. And then I just sit down and try to figure out how can I put all this stuff in here and get it as solid as I possibly can so I can carry it around. And as you can see, it fits pretty good, just like that. And I also have a extra cigarette lighter style power cord in case the one I have that I showed you earlier breaks. I can pull this out and I've got another 12 volt cigarette lighter style power plug, because a lot of times what breaks are these little ends will break eventually. And so you're in the field and you don't have any power now simply because you don't have an extra one of these, which are very low cost. So I'd say to go buy you some, and I can just lay that right in there like that and close the case. So as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 eyepieces in this case, scattered across various focal lengths. So I've got everything in here from 2-inch, very low power, 40 millimeters, you know, all the way up to like a 9 millimeter that I showed you right here. In my case, I have to remember that I also need an extra eyepiece just for my finder scope on my LX90, because I've mounted an 80 millimeter refractor Celestron onto that scope, and it has a regular diagonal, which is this one right here. I'm going to need an eyepiece for that finder scope, and usually what I'll stick in it is something like this little 15 millimeter SuperView, GSO SuperView. I'll stick that into the Celestron refractor, or this 26 millimeter Meade. Nothing fancy about those two. Again, I'm just using that refractor as a second visual scope to locate objects in the night sky. And of course, certain objects show up better in that rich field refractor than they do in the main tube of the LX90, because it's got such a wide field of view. So for instance, you can get the entire Pleiades in that refractor and just barely get it in there, and you're going to be missing a few stars in the LX90. I have both of those mounted. When I do public observing, I can have 2 lines, you know, one at the small scope, one at the big scope, and they can just rotate through the 2 lines. So here's my main eyepiece bag, which I bought for $5 at a thrift store. Okay? Now let's look at the back of it. You know, it's every kind of laptop bag usually has some place to put papers. All right, and this one does too. And you can see I've got my observing list, my little sky map in here, and some other documents that I might use while I'm observing. Okay? So I basically made a folder of different types of information that I might need, like a list of asterisms, and I keep that in my main eyepiece bag just in case I might need it out in the field while I'm observing. So with this one bag, I can grab this one bag and basically do a night of visual observing with this one eyepiece bag, which is of course a regular laptop bag with the foam separators in it, the Velcro foam little cloth separators. Look for this. It makes a great eyepiece bag. You know, as you get more and more into the hobby, you accumulate more and more eyepieces and assorted other devices that you may discover you need or don't need. But at some point you're going to have a second eyepiece bag, and of course I hit that point, and again I went back to the thrift store looking around for a cheap solution to storing my astronomy stuff and carrying it out in the field. So what I found there one day, believe it or not, was this nice aluminum case sitting there, and they wanted $3 for it. So I bought it, and it's pretty heavy duty. I took it home, I put some foam in the top of it. Okay, it already had a few little separators in it, okay, that it had in there already, and my extra equipment I just simply organized and put into different compartments inside this second eyepiece bag. If I'm going to do bino viewing, you can see my bino viewers are right here inside another case that fits inside of this little cheap case that I bought. And again, I'm trying to keep the eyepieces either in tubes of some sort or in their original boxes, just so that I can pack it better into these boxes. And of course it keeps your eyepieces in better shape with less scratches on them, etc., etc. Sometimes I don't have a case. You know, I've inherited eyepieces when I bought equipment. You know, a lot of times they come with, when you buy used equipment, they come with extra eyepieces. I've inherited some that did not have boxes. I try to keep them sealed up, though, if I don't have a box for it. Okay, so here's another case that I found for $3 at a thrift store. It's a very nice aluminum case, and I keep my secondary pieces of equipment in this case. Now, if we're going to go to astronomy day or something where I'm going to be out there all day long, I'll probably take this case along with that other laptop bag that I showed you a few minutes ago. I'll take both of them. But normally, I simply take the little laptop bag that I showed you a few minutes ago. So another option for you. Now, you do realize that these are sold from time to time at both Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's. Every once in a while, they will have these types of cases for under $20. Okay, under $20 on sale, but you have to look for them. They're not there all the time. So when you go in the store, look around and see if they've gotten in any of these. It's not quite as heavy, won't be quite as heavy duty as what I'm showing you here, because this was a real photographic quality aluminum case that I discovered at the thrift store. But those cases will work just fine that you find at Lowe's for about $20. They look something like this. The next case I want to show you is something maybe that you hadn't thought about. Using the possibility of using it to carry your equipment in. And this is what's called a Plano 4-pistol case. In other words, it'll hold 4 guns in the case so that you can carry those guns around with you and protect them from getting scratched, etc., etc. So this is called a 4-pistol case. And if you go to Amazon or somewhere and just Google Plano, P-L-A-N-O, 4-pistol case, this is what you're going to be taken to. So let me kind of show you what this looks like. And what I've done with this one, and it comes with all this foam that you see here, is that we're using it for our conference call phone that we use to conference call in board members at our astronomy club. But obviously, this was cut out to fit this. You could cut out eyepiece holes and square little blocks out of this and convert this into a real nice eyepiece box. Okay, so don't forget a Plano 4 pistol case when you're looking around for an eyepiece case. These are sold all the time on Amazon for about $16, and they do come with foam, and they do come with 2 types of foam. Sometimes you can't find both types. They come with this egg crate type that you saw inside of this box, this egg crate. But they also come with pluck foam. I have seen them in Walmart with pluck foam in them. And you'll find these in the big box stores in the around where the rifles and guns and sporting equipment might be. But I have seen them with pluck foam, and I've seen them with egg crate foam. So regardless of the type of foam that you want, they come both ways if you'll just hunt them down. You may have to have them order you one specifically with pluck foam in it, but they only run about $16. Okay, the final box I want to show you to give you some ideas about your telescope tube itself is that you really don't have to go buy a $200 or $300 case just to carry around your scope from your house to the observing site, wherever that might be. Now, if you're going to ship that scope on an airplane, I would tell you to buy the most expensive, strongest case that you can find, but that's kind of a niche happening for most amateur astronomers. They're really not going to carry a scope onto an airplane. What they have in mind is putting the scope in their car, putting it in the trunk, carrying it out to an observing site, and then getting it out onto the field. So here we have a typical tool chest type box that you can buy at, again, all the big box stores and on Amazon.com. This one's called the Stanley Fat Max. Stanley Fat Max. Just so happens that the Stanley Fat Max is the perfect size for a 6-inch Astrotech RC telescope. So I'm going to show that to you. So let's unlatch these and open up this Fat Max. And you can see that that RC scope fits in here just perfect. I went out and bought just a little bit of foam so that the scope is surrounded in foam. There's some on the bottom too, a little layer on the bottom. And the scope fits right into this Fat Max box perfectly, along with, you can't see them probably in the video, but the extension rings that are required for this scope are also inside this box. So extension rings, focuser, tube, all fit inside this Fat Max box. Very good quality, very heavy duty, even has a little rubber seal around the edges here. This yellow that you see is actually some soft rubber, so that when you seal it, I would say it's just darn near waterproof. Okay, or at least water resistant. And there you go, and all you have to do is pick it up and carry it out into the field, and your scope is going to be well protected inside this Fat Max box. If you happen to have a Astrotech 6 RC scope, it'll fit right in there. Of course, a lot of 6-inch Schmidt Cassegrains will also fit inside this box, along with a lot of Maksutov style scopes will fit in this box. All you have to do is just put a little bit more foam in there, a little different than what I did, and you can just organize that space the way you want it. So think about these tool chests that you can buy. This one, I believe this one was $39 if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was $39, and I bought it off of Amazon.com and had it just shipped right to me. But Stanley FatMax, there's many others out there, but this particular one, would be good for something up to about 6 inches. Something up to about 6 inches. So if you have a, let's say, 150 millimeter Maksutov style scope, it's going to fit in this box. You're just going to have to change up the foam a little bit. So with that said, I wish y'all clear skies, and remember to keep looking up to see the greatest show on earth right over your head every single night. See y'all later.